Hi, hope you're having a great day. My name is Nishtha from BeYourAwesome.in and we are here taking our series of Wellness with Experts forward. Today, we're going to talk about Ayurveda, the traditional science, and how does it help with fertility. And we're joined with Dr. Vasudha Sharma. Doctor, thank you for being here with us. And my story with Dr. Vasudha Sharma also goes a long way. She's been a major part of my own fertility treatment and being blessed today. So I'm thanking you for, with a very blessed heart, Doctor. And thank you for your time to share your knowledge with us. Let me introduce Dr. Vasudha to you first. Dr. Vasudha Sharma is the Director of Medical Services of Vivekananda Health Global, an international chain of integrative medicine headquartered in Bangalore. She is an entrepreneur in the field of integrative medicine, an Ayurveda and yoga therapy consultant, researcher, and an international speaker with 21 years of clinical experience. Dr. Vasudha Sharma has been a clinical practitioner integrating Ayurveda, yoga and acupuncture, and her area of specialization includes integrative pain management and women health, including infertility. Dr. Vasudha has been a speaker at various forums and conferences in India, China, South Korea, Singapore, Bali, Italy, Sri Lanka and the US. So we welcome Dr. Vasudha Sharma.
Namaste. Well, thank you, Nishtha. Thank you for having me over, and I'm glad to hear people getting better and getting more fertile, I would say, and carry on with their parental journey. And it's a wonderful part of every lady, especially, and a couple's dream to have a beautiful child in their arms. And it's our pleasure, and we feel really blessed to be helping people and be a part of their smiles.
Yes, and that is very, very true. And I'm humbly saying that as your patient as well. So, Doctor, let's start with our first question. There is so much information today about Ayurveda and what it can do, and so much is believable, so much is not. So, you being the expert, why don't you share with us what is Ayurveda and how does it cure the fundamental systems of the body?
So, see, as everybody knows and we are aware that Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old science, and it is very essential for us to also understand that it is a completely evidence-based approach.
Right.
People should not feel, oh, it is just a traditional medicine, and it is something ghar mein banaya wala dawai, otherwise in Kannada we say nati aushadhi. So this is not what we would like to call Ayurveda as. It's fundamentally a very great science which can give us in-depth knowledge of mind, body and beyond. So when we talk about it, there is one definition of Ayurveda which is mentioned in Charaka Samhita, which says hita hitam sukham dukkham ayustasya hita hitam manancha tache yatroktam ayurveda sauchyate. So what it means is hita ahita. So Ayurveda defines about being goodness or the other part of it, ahita, and sukha and dukkha, happiness and unhappiness. So it brings in all these dualities which is there in nature. And one more connotation which I would like to add here is, let's look at our body and let us look at nature. There is so much of similarity. Right. There is sun there, moon there in nature, and we have our body which is also having this heat and cold energy depicted in the form of tridoshas.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's very important, therefore, that we work in tandem with nature. We also imbibe the goodness of nature and ensure that the harmony between the mind, body, definitely with nature is very important to stay healthy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Doctor. And it's so powerful to hear that from you. It feels like you're in control. It empowers you in so many ways. So, Doctor, just help our viewers now understand what is the way that Ayurveda treats fertility and how does that work?
Okay, see, first of all, everyone should understand that Ayurveda is not describing the science of fertility just in its books somewhere. Okay, so there is a very, very specifically designated part of it which is called Prasuti Tantra and Stri Roga. It means obstetrics and gynecology. So, and there have been books where exclusive focus is on fertility itself. Okay. There is, Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, they all have definitely many chapters which are dedicated to the science of women health, but there are specific books like Kaumara Bhritya is one other specific aspect which talks about pediatrics or child health, but that also talks about a lot about the mother's health, and that's where we talk about fertility.
Right, and I think the general perception is that a gynecologist is just in allopathy. So, thank you for clarifying that. So, how does it help solve the fundamental problems? What are the functions that Ayurveda works with to resolve?
Correct. See, let's take an example of a tripod. Okay, so we have 3 legs on our table. So likewise, all the 3 legs are represented by the 3 doshas, which we call as in Ayurveda, and which are very commonly known nowadays, because I think post-COVID people are becoming more and more aware of Ayurveda, yoga, and such other traditional sciences. So we call these as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are the fundamental principles on which the body is made up of. And how does this concept evolve? Basically evolves from the Pancha Mahabhuta concept, which are the 5 element theories. So like I just said, right? So we derive a lot from nature. So Pancha Mahabhuta is the crux, the fundamental, behind all this. That's how it evolves, evolution happens, and then we talk about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and Vata is made up of 2 elements, Pitta is made up of another 2 elements, and Kapha also. So likewise, the Pancha Mahabhuta and the doshas are very well connected.
And the aim of Ayurveda is to create a balance between all of this.
Okay. Very true. That's how the definition of health is also based on, and we have also seen that WHO earlier, never brought in the concept of mind and body, but it has definitely brought in, in its for the last few years, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's how Ayurveda defines Samadosha Samagnischa Samadhatu Malakriyaha Prasann Atmendriya Manaha Swastha Ityabhidhiyate. So we're talking about a person being swastha or healthy. And how does this happen? By the balance of the dosha, dhatu, mala. So not only this, prasanna atmendriya. Atma is your soul, indriya are your sense organs, and that's how you define health beyond just physical body.
That's amazing, doctor. That's amazing. So switching gears and moving to fertility problems now. What are the common problems in your practice that you see with men and women, and what are the things that you think they can do to address it? 1, to avoid it, and 2, to, if they have caught it, then how do they resolve it?
One thing is, when people come to us, they would have already visited a fertility expert or a gynecologist, and they would say the most common thing I would hear is, doctor, I've undergone 2 IUIs or 2 IVFs, and then now I just want to take a break and I'm not able to follow the regimen anymore. So most of them come with this mindset, and then we'll have to really counsel them, help them understand that it's just not what you're dealing with is physical body. Like we just defined health, right? It's much beyond that. So you have to bring in and make a conscious effort to balance your mind, body, and spirit, I would say, the Atma, and that plays a crucial role. So therefore, problems pertaining to this are maybe with the history of polycystic ovaries, is what they would be probably dealing with, a history of endometriosis in female as well, and there have been instances, largely, we have also seen cases with unexplained infertility. So everything in the male and the female is normal, but still the lady is unable to conceive. And in men, the most common problems which we see are reduced sperm count or reduced motility, sometimes erectile dysfunctions also. Many more to go, but these are very commonly seen.
Right. And what are the things that people can change in their lifestyle, maybe food habits? What can they do really to start helping themselves?
I think they have to do a lot. And when people come to us, many of them are already, not too bad, but some of them are definitely, I would put in the bracket of bad lifestyle, and because lifestyle involves diet as well. And in a place like Bangalore, what we have seen is all the streets are flooded or restaurants are flooded on a Friday night and a Saturday
yes.
night. So this is just an example of what kind of lifestyle we are all following.
Right.
And I think that is something which people need to worry on, concentrate on. What we follow, right from our 20s and 25s does impact when you're 30, 35, 40. So when we're talking about fertility, then let's consider an average age of 28 to 30 nowadays, especially in urban population for conception. Then it's very important that they keep their 20s, early 20s as well, where they're single, and then they would like to do a lot of things. They would like to mingle, is what they say, right? So it's very important that it starts from there. So I think educating the masses is very essential, and there are many people working on that. Such programs as well will be very useful. So therefore, they really have to concentrate on, say, when it comes to eating, what time they eat, what do they eat, what quantity do they eat, and how do they prepare. All that is important.
Right.
And preferably when we say don't eat outside, it doesn't mean that you should never eat, but it can't be a weekend scenario all the time.
Right.
And when you talk about exercise regimen, it includes yoga, it includes maybe going to a fitness place, it might be just a walk. So exercise has to be a part of everyone's life, and it's a day-to-day phenomena. And when we talk about yoga, I think it's very essential for the viewers to understand that any scientific paper we take, minimum 5 days of yoga, 40 minutes a day is definitely advised.
Right. And there's a lot that Ayurveda pays attention on following the sun. Right? Does that have an impact on fertility? What time somebody is waking up and sleeping? Because in my practice now as well, I see so many people coming and saying, oh, we only sleep by 1 a.m. and we are up by 10 a.m. So would you throw some light on that?
So what people feel is, I'm getting adequate sleep.
7 hours.
I'm sleeping for 7 hours. I'm sleeping for 8 hours. So that's not what is right. So what is right is you should at least sleep by 11 p.m. I'm extending the time to 11 because we understand the scenario of work in urban areas. So at least sleep by 10:30, 11 and ensure you get a good 7 hours of sleep. And this sleep has to be sound. It can't be like I'm waking up every 2 hours and I'm just going off to sleep once again. So you should feel rested when you wake up in the morning. That is primarily very, very essential. And you should also know, how your sleep has energized you, because sleep is an essential component for you to be active, agile across the day. And that also happens because your brain is given the rest, your memory, lot of your processes in the brain are also enhanced once you sleep well. And that's why it is very important for good endocrine balance. So when your sleep is good, your hormonal balance is good. Likewise, the time of sleep, like you said, is very important, and not playing around with the nocturnal and the diurnal rhythm of the body is very, very essential. Once again, always strike balance with nature.
Right, that's lovely. And how about stress? Stress does have a huge role to play in fertility. So
yes. See, stress probably none of us can get rid of. But it's very important for us to understand the definition of stress when we say we can't get rid of. Now, say, we are talking, you would have done some base preparation to talk to me, but you can't consider that as stress. Yes, but that is a positive stress which is associated with, and that is essential. And when you are working, for 8 hours a day, and especially in the IT industry, you have to sit for long duration, and you have to take calls many a times, or even as doctors, people would given that time. So this is something which you cannot get rid of, but you should know that diet, lifestyle and whatever you do is not allowing that stress to impact you negatively, because you can't run away from that.
Right.
So what you have to do is ideally cultivate different habits which can reduce the impact of stress and ensure that your hormonal imbalance is under control. Especially in women, they succumb to stress very easily. There's a sensitive line which is drawn in the body. I'd like to just take a couple of minutes to just explain this.
Sure.
there is something called the hypothalamo-pituitary-ovarian axis, and when you have additional stress and the stress load is high on your body, it disturbs your hormonal balance. How does this happen, or what is the reason why polycystic ovarian response is seen in many individuals? This is how it is. So because of the stress load, the hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis is at imbalance. So hypothalamus is a regulatory organ in your brain, pituitary once again is an endocrine organ, and then your ovaries. So when the polycystic ovarian response happens, you see a lot of follicles around the ovaries, which block the right hormonal output to the body, and that's how your response to regular menstruation is not good, because your estrogen falls down. So if you are able to get this balance back, then the lady is going to ovulate as well, and not only menstruation, because menstruation regularly is not an index to say that everything is okay
inside.
Ovulation is.
Right.
And the same concept is very well explained in Ayurveda also. We call it as Rutu Kala.
Yes, right. Okay, and you touch upon a very beautiful thing, that stress is all about changing your perspective. So you have to do your work or every effort that you're putting in day to day anyway, but you got to be able to switch gears within your mind to take it easy.
People, maybe you should give them some tips as well. Like for example, you're here at work, and there's no point in thinking about home when you're at work, because you're physically not there. So as you said, switch gears and get your whole attention, focus at your workplace, go back home, be at peace, forget about your work. So people are unable to do this. So we hear a lot of these in the clinic, and just not with fertility issues alone, lot of other issues when it even comes to stress, anxiety, and some psychological issues as well. So people are unable to do that. Their mind is continuously working all the time. And this is explained even in yoga, very well. So we talk about chitta vritti nirodha, right? So controlling your mind. So there is such a continuous thought process which is happening, that your mind is never silent. So silencing your mind is very important actually for fertility. So I tell this to many women who come here, that saumanasya, that means to say the lady should have a sumanas, a good manas, or a mind. That means a peaceful state of mind, and that is one of the foremost indication for conception actually.
Right. And just connecting with what we see around these days, the practice of mindfulness, meditation is taking hold of everyone now, and these are traditional practices that were meant to do just that, relieve your stress and let you be at peace.
True. That's how people have to imbibe, practices like this. Doing a 45-minute yoga practice every day, which not only has asanas, should not limit to asanas alone. So you'll have to have breathing exercises, asanas, relaxation practices, pranayama, chanting, and short meditation as well. If not in the 45-minute practice, have it separately in the day. Like early mornings you can have meditation, and another 40 minutes dedicated to practicing yoga would be good.
Right. And just as a conclusion, I'd say, Doctor, as I listen to you, it feels like we're not really making the most of what our potential is. So thank you so much for these tips and sharing your knowledge with us. We will continue the series with you and go deeper into integration and functional medicine and how Ayurveda plays a role there. But thank you for now. So all of you who want to consult with Dr. Vasudha, she operates out of Kalyan Nagar, HSR layout, and online as well for those of you who are not in Bangalore. And I'll put in all the details of how to book an appointment with her in the description of this video. So go ahead and use this opportunity. And for more content like this, keep following, liking, and subscribing. Thank you.